Welcome back to Dunstan Kiwi Bred. Highview Stud has acquired the services of former Group 1 Hong Kong galloper Sweet Orange, and Kiwi Bred headed to the Waikato stud to speak to Brent Gillivick about their newest arrival. He's the only son of Warfront to stand at stud in New Zealand. How did Sweet Orange come to be at Highview Stud, Brent?
I was over at Cambridge Stud this time last year, or just a bit earlier than this, and Marcus Corbin said, "Come and have a look at a horse here. You might be interested in him." And so I went and had a look at him, and I really liked him. I knew a little bit about Warfront, but not a lot, to be fair. I knew he was an up-and-comer. And then very shortly afterwards, he left 2 Group 1 winners on the first day of Royal Ascot in 2013. So I got very keen then.
Has he settled in well here? He's been here for 3 months?
Yeah, we got him early May, and he arrived here, and yeah, he's really let down beautifully since he's been here. He's sort of let down. He's put on a lot of weight. I think we weighed him the other day. He was 565 kilos. I guess he's put on 30 or 40 kilos since he got here. And his skin's just, really come through beautifully, and he's thrived since he's arrived, really, through the winter months, which is good.
He hasn't raced for over 18 months. He was forced into an early retirement from injury. Physically, how do you describe the horse?
He's probably what you'd expect from a Danzig liner horse. He's got that lovely big jowly wide between the eyes head. He's got a nice head, as you can see, and he's got that real Danzig style about him. He's very strong quartered horse, stands over a little bit of ground, a little bit more than, say, some of them you'd expect. So he's got a fair bit of scope about him. He's very correct, and all in all, good old style, sort of Kiwi style of horse that we like to see here.
He's by the recently dubbed leading commercial stallion in the world, Warfront, who stands for $150,000 US in Kentucky. The pedigree obviously has big appeal on the sire line, but how about the dam line as well?
He's out of a unbridled song there, and that's probably where that little bit of extra length comes from. He was a particularly long horse, unbridled song, because I remember seeing him at Arrowfield many years ago. He's got a double up to Fabiano in the crux of his pedigree, which is really interesting, I think, for the breeding experts out there, and or pundits, I should say. He traces back his 4th dams by Round Table, and he's got plenty of the blood that's worked here, and Prince Quillo, Sir Galahad, Polynesian, all that sort of blood that has typically worked with New Zealand pedigrees.
Sweet Orange began his racing under the name Warning Flag. He was rated 117 by Timeform as a 2-year-old before being sold to Hong Kong, where he raced at the elite level. His win in the Hong Kong Classic Mile in 2012 showed just how tough he was as a racehorse. What caught your eye about that performance?
I sort of follow the Hong Kong racing and Singapore, to be honest, and pretty much, regularly. He was ridden in 3 Group 1s. I think the rides left a little bit to be desired. He won that race. He was a sitting duck for Fei Fei to beat him, and he didn't. And of course, Fei Fei beat him in the Derby. But I did have dinner with David Ferraris a few weeks back in Hong Kong, and he said he should have won 3 Group 1s without a doubt. He was just sort of pulling his hair out, really. But the owner wanted to have Marwing ride the horse, and that's what happened.
What was his appeal for Highview Stud?
Well, he's obviously by Warfront. He's the hottest horse in the world commercially, and I love the Danzig line. We had Kashani here, obviously. He was a great servant to the farm, and the Danzig line, particularly through Danehall Course, has been by far and away the most successful here in the last 20-30 years. So no-brainer, really, if you can get a horse with that sort of quality. As you say, a decent Timeform rating as a 2-year-old in Ireland, and Timeform ratings for a 2-year-old probably around the 100 mark is the norm. He was 117, progressive. So yeah, I love that 2-year-old form. Obviously, when they get sold to Hong Kong, they take a long time to acclimatise and before they get racing again. So I think he only had a couple of starts as a 3-year-old and then into it as a 4-year-old.
Another of Warfront's sons' declaration of war stands at Coolmore, Australia for around $28,000. Here, Sweet Orange enters the market at $5,000. How much interest has there been since you announced him with the New Zealand breeders?
Yeah, the interest's been very good, and a lot of people just hung off, I think, to see the horse at the Stallion Parade, which was only a couple of days ago. And yeah, he went super. He paraded well, and the interest is very high, and he'll cover a really good book of mares numbers-wise.
Sweet Orange boasts terrific credentials and offers great value to New Zealand breeders. Well, it's now time for our Pedigree of the Week. Thanks to International Animal Health Products, we take a look at the Group 1 winning son of Bachelor Duke, Shuka.
Shuka had so often lurked in the shadow of Starmere Silent Achiever, but he emerged to get his own day in the sun in last season's Group 1 Captain Cook Stakes at Trentham. One of the most consistent stakes performers of his year, Shuka emerged as a 4-year-old with 2 stakes wins and 4 stakes placings behind him as a 2 and 3-year-old, his most important win coming in the Group 2 Wakefield Challenge Stakes at Trentham. His 4-year-old season followed the same path with 2 Group 2 second placings, followed by a late season win in the Group 3 Canterbury Gold Cup at Riccarton. His connections didn't have to wait long for an even better highlight, his Captain Cook Stakes win before Christmas the same year, a richly deserved triumph for trainers Peter and Dawn Williams, jockey Danielle Johnson, owner Eric Parr and breeder Dick Caraman. For Caraman, the win was all the more memorable as it credited Shuka's sire Bachelor Duke with his first Group 1 winner at stud. Bachelor Duke stands at Caraman's The Oak Stud in Cambridge. Shuka is out of Cape Cross mare Alabama Rose, whose dam, Bold Rancher mare Alabama Whirly, was a Group 1 winner of the Cutter Plate in Perth. Alabama Whirly also won twice at listed level, and interestingly, Shuka is bred 4x5 to Northern Dancer. This week's Pedigree of the Week is proudly brought to you by International Animal Health Products.
Well, that wraps up another show. I look forward to your company next week when we're at Blandford Lodge to discuss farm graduates Lucia Valentina and Criterion, as well as taking our first look at the Haunoi farm-based Furlax. I'll see you all then.